I'm let down. And what I was hoping was that a coordinated thing where if you are charging us 20%, we charge you 20. There was a way to be able to make it work, but the numbers that they did, and they had this ridiculous, I mean, that was the chart that they had with the mathematical equation. I mean, are you kidding me? How about just like
it looked like an Einstein.
I know. How about the
Yeah.
fact that it was just wrong?
Yeah.
And what bothered me, Aaron, was that they really did over and over again. The president said, "Listen, it's going to be reciprocal. So you do it, we do it, and that was going to be so good." And I really believed in it. And I feel like a sucker tonight, because I am not a free trader, and I do not believe in free trade. And I was just as tough, if not tougher, than his people, but they screwed it up, and they really they did it a totally ill-advised way. And I was very let down.
Shut the hell up! I am so tired of the incessant whining coming from this bald dude that's desperately trying to resemble Joy Reid. How in the hell can you feel duped when you're getting exactly what you voted for? How can you feel duped when the Trumper is doing exactly what he said he was going to do? I felt duped this weekend, but I wasn't fooled by the Trumper. For years, I have been hearing about this high-quality basketball in March Madness. These women are amazing! These games are highly competitive. These matchups are incredible. This is must-see TV. Must-see TV? Must-see TV. When I was watching the Final Four and the national championship in women's basketball, the only thing I was thinking was, get off my TV. I think it's ironic that James Cramer is complaining about being duped, because he has spent most of his career deceiving people or just being plain wrong. Either way, it's no bueno. James Cramer, he kind of reminds me of a tout. For those that don't know, tout is an old school term used to describe people who exploit the weaknesses of dumbasses by selling them sports betting picks. Today, networks like ESPN or FS1, they call them experts. Experts. According to ESPN, guys like Joe Fortenbaugh, they are betting experts. 2 days ago, ESPN uploaded a video that contained Joey's best bets for the Final Four. I tried to watch it this morning to see how Joey did this weekend with his picks, but the video, it was mysteriously deleted. I wonder why. For decades, touts have taken advantage of desperate sports bettors who are looking for an edge. They make these impossible, outlandish claims. Send me $50 and I'll release inside information on the Final Four. You don't want to miss this 1 million unit play. This is the bet of the century. 24 hours later, when that guaranteed winner inevitably loses, they demand more of your money so you can recoup your losses. And the cycle will rinse and repeat until they have bled you dry, at which point they find another dumbass to exploit and do the same thing to him. Believe it or not, it really is a lucrative industry. RJ Bell, he has made a good living at pregame by organizing a collection of touts and selling picks. For both the touts and the sports books, it's a win-win. Touts receive kickbacks from the sports books for referring them players, and obviously, the books, they're making money because 99% of bettors lose. And the 1% of bettors that do win, they ain't selling their picks to the public. James Cramer reminds me of a tout, but instead of giving out picks on sporting events, James gives out picks pertaining to the stock market. If you believe James and his employer CNBC, he's an expert. If you believe people who have followed his advice, James is a huge embarrassing failure. Over the weekend, the bald bull made another one of his infamous bold predictions. Batten down the hatches, close the storm shutters. We're on the precipice of an economic apocalypse. Everyone will be bankrupt. I'll no longer be able to afford my fruity pebbles. According to Jim Cramer, Monday, April 7th, 2025, it is going to be one of the darkest days in American history because, according to James, the stock market is crashing as we speak, which could potentially lead to Black Monday Part Dos. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Praetorian Consulting. Over the last 4 years with Johnny B. Biden, we were living under a regime that wanted us completely reliant on the government, when the reality is, we should be as self-reliant and autonomous as possible. I'm sure you guys have heard that saying, when seconds count, the police are minutes away. The police are a reactionary force, which means the safety of your family, it is in your hands when it matters most. The same is true for emergency situations like car accidents. You need to be prepared, and that's where Praetorian Consulting steps in. Praetorian Consulting offers a full suite of emergency planning services and tailor-made packages designed to meet any concerns in your life, whether it's protecting your digital privacy on your phone or computer, or medical emergencies at home or on the road, home defense, communications. Praetorian Consulting offers the products and the expertise that will have you relying on yourself when it matters most. Daniel, the owner of Praetorian Consulting, he is a former Marine who has spent his career identifying and mitigating risk. This dude knows what he is talking about, so click the link in the description below. Become self-reliant with Praetorian Consulting today. Since 2005, James Cramer has hosted a show on CNBC called Mad Money. It's an appropriate title for this polished turd because for the 100,000 or so people that watch this garbage, I'm sure they are mad at their money because they don't have any. Several years ago, James Cramer, he was highly critical of Sam Bankman-Fried or Sam Bankman-Fried after his cryptocurrency exchange collapsed. According to James, this asshole is a clueless idiot. He's a pathological liar. He's a con man. Well, that sounds rather harsh. It's also rather confusing because when James interviewed Sam Fried, he claimed the bank man was a visionary. He once told his minuscule audience to buy stock in Netflix. 5 months later, Netflix lost nearly 70% of its value. One of his most famous predictions happened during the financial crisis in 2007 and 2008. Thanks to our good friend Georgie W., the president who openly admitted, "I'm no economer." Stock market was crashing during the final years of his presidency. Trillions of dollars suddenly vanished. The market was filled with uncertainty. At the time, James Cramer, he was calm. He was telling his audience, "Don't worry, friends. This crash is great. Invest in Bear Stearns. Invest in Lehman Brothers. Hell, invest in all of these banks. We can get these stocks for cheap and we're going to be rich." Several months later, most of these investments that James recommended to his audience went out of business. August of 2007, the financial magazine Barron's, they did a study on James Cramer. If you invested by following his stock advice, your annual rate of return would be around 12%. Not too bad, right? During that same time period, the Dow rose 22%. Long story short, James Cramer is a tout. You would be better off investing in the whoopee cushions Boodle Breeze than following the financial advice of James Cramer, which is why I tend to believe the opposite of the prediction that he made this past weekend. Friday night, while the rest of us were out living our lives, James was despondent over the Trumpers' tariffs. He was angry, he was outraged, and most of all, he was scared. James was afraid of what could happen on Monday, today. He was afraid that the Trumper was destroying the economy, the same economy that was previously destroyed by our former fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden. Watch for yourself.
It might be the big kahuna. That's the one of October of 1987, where the market went down hard for 3 days. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it went even harder on a day we call Black Monday, where the market fell 22%. If the president doesn't try to reach out and reward these countries and companies that play by the rules, then the 1987 scenario, the one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday, has the most cogency. President Trump stays intransigent and does nothing to ameliorate the damage that I saw these last 2 days. I'm not going to be constructive here. I will contain my anger, but only because I lived through 87, and in the end, I came out okay. I was in cash for the crash. I know what this feels like. Oh, and if Europe moves against our fabulous tech companies next week, then I will be furious. That I promise you.
Ooh, you tell them, Jamie. If those Europeans move against our fabulous, fantastic, downright amazing tech companies, I, James Cramer, will be furious. Yeah. I'm sure Europe is worried about James. This doofus doesn't have an audience in America. Why in the hell would they be worried about him in London? The Black Monday crash that James is predicting, it happened in October of 1987. The first one did. That day, the stock market lost almost 23% of its value in one day. Now, Uncle Casey has been monitoring the markets all morning. Full transparency here. Uncle Casey is no expert. Like my good friend Georgie, I am no economer. I don't invest my own money. I give my money to people who know what the hell they're doing. And no, my financial advisor, it is not James Cramer. As of the recording of this video, which around noon on Monday, the Dow lost around 900 points, which would be a 2.3% decline. Again, I'm no economer, but I'm pretty sure 2% is nowhere close to 22%. Like I told you guys yesterday, I think everyone just needs to relax, and I'm not the only one who thinks this. The Trumper, he sent out a tweet this morning telling people not to panic. The Trumper told people not to be weak, and I think he sent out a special message to James Cramer when he said, "Don't be stupid." Look, I don't know if these tariffs will work. What I do know is we did not get here in 3 days. We didn't lose manufacturing jobs in 3 days. We didn't lose jobs in oil and gas in 3 days. We didn't wake up one morning and products from China were suddenly dominating store shelves. It took years, decades to reach this point. You can be against the tariffs and be objective at the same time. It took years to lose these jobs. If it took years for Chinese products to dominate the market, wouldn't it make sense that it could take months or even years to bring them back? I don't think the stock market is crashing because tariffs don't work. I think the market is crashing because no one knows if they will work. There's a lot of uncertainty. But give me your thoughts on this. James Cramer predicts Black Monday, which would be a 22% decline in the stock market in one day. Halfway through the day, market is down 2%. Another swing and a miss by James Cramer. Does anyone watch this guy? Does anyone follow his financial advice? What do you guys think of Jim Cramer? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.